This is you, and this is the beginning of the universe, the first moment of the Big Bang. You see a single dot, a single point in vast nothingness. What was a second before, you wonder? A second before doesn't exist, I say. Space-time was created by the Big Bang. Just like there is no north of the North Pole, there is no time before the Big Bang. Are you ready to see it? Yes, you answer. Let's briefly unpause the time. Did you see it? No, it's still a single dot. Look closer, I suggest. Wait, there is something inside. The dot didn't grow, but now there is space inside of it. How is this possible? The universe cannot expand into anything. Outside of the universe doesn't exist. It can only create new space inside of itself. And what is that glowing stuff? Those are quarks and gluons. I let a bit more time pass. Look, a few gluons are about to collide. They just created a quark and antiquark, and those two immediately annihilated each other, creating more gluons and so on. I unpause the time again. Wow, you say. It just created 1 billion kilometers of space, and it's still packed with quarks. I didn't tell you how much quarks hate being alone. All they want is to bond together and create neutrons. But the universe is expanding with such violence that quarks are ripped apart the moment they start to bond. The universe keeps expanding 1 billion kilometers every millisecond. But then it calms down. Quarks are finally happy because now they can bond and form neutrons. And then the universe became 1 second old. Yes, 1 second. The universe is now 100 billion kilometers wide, and it's cold enough that neutrons decay into proton and electron pairs and form the first atom, hydrogen. Then more and more hydrogen atoms formed, and the universe turned into 1 billion Celsius hydrogen gas. Where gas was denser, it got pulled in by gravity, forming a big ball of hydrogen. In the center of this ball, pressure becomes so high that atoms get literally smashed into each other, and nuclear fusion begins. When the gas ignites, something majestic is born. The energy from nuclear fusion pushes outwards, while gravity pushes inwards. So the star is balanced. A few billion years later, hydrogen is exhausted and the fusion stops. Now nothing opposes gravity anymore, so the star starts collapsing onto itself. The pressure in the core grows even more, to the point where now helium atoms can fuse. This new fusion releases a lot more energy. So much in fact that outer layers start getting pushed away. This is when the star becomes a red giant. In 5 billion years this will happen to our sun, and it will swallow the earth. Imagine looking at the sun. Now imagine it grows so big that you can touch it. There are two things that can happen to a red giant depending on its size. If it's a medium-sized star like our sun, then outer layers will just go away and the core will remain. This is now a white dwarf. It doesn't do any fusion, it will just slowly cool down and become a black dwarf. If it's absolutely massive star, then something else happens. The pressure in the core is so high, the fusion quickly reaches iron. You know those iron atoms in your blood? Those are made here. Iron is nuclear ash and it cannot fuse. Since nothing opposes gravity again, the core is crushed under its own insane weight, like a huge building crushes its basement. There is also no nuclear energy pushing outer layers anymore, so gravity pulls them in at 25% speed of light. They crash onto the iron core like a glass onto pavement. All this material gets blasted into space in a magnificent explosion called supernova. In a moment of death, a star outshines galaxies. Stars are forgers of the universe. All celestial bodies are created by the death of a star. Although supernovas sound scary, their energy is unfocused, so they won't reach Earth. Except when they shoot lasers. Sometimes a supernova shoots gamma ray bursts from its poles. GRB is basically a laser gun. powered by a star. If this laser hits us, it will cook the side of the Earth facing it and cause extinction for probably everything except bacteria. In the Milky Way, gamma ray burst happens once every 1,000 years, and it is very unlikely that we will get sniped across the galaxy. Imagine throwing a needle from an airplane trying to hit a grain of sand. Okay, outer layers sound cool, but what happens to the core? Oh boy. Since there is no fusion energy to push outwards, the core is collapsing under its own gravity. The pressure becomes so high that electrons get smashed into protons and they form neutrons. Core, size of the Earth, gets rammed to the size of a city. Now it is made only of neutrons crammed against each other. And neutrons really don't want to be that close. But gravity is trying to shove them into a single spot and turn them into a black hole. So they push, and they push desperately against the gravity. If they win, they become a neutron star. If gravity wins, they become a black hole. Let me start with neutron stars. Although they look like stars, they are nothing like stars. You see, everything in the universe is 99.999% empty space. This is because in an atom there is a very small nucleus and then a lot of empty space where electrons orbit. Only thing that this doesn't apply to are neutron stars. I explained that here electrons are shoved into protons, forming neutrons, and all those neutrons are crammed against each other. This gives neutron stars some insane properties. For example, 1 cubic meter of water weighs roughly 1 metric ton. A cubic meter of iron is close to 8 metric tons. A cubic meter of neutron star is around 100 billion metric tons. That's interesting, right? What if I told you that neutron stars also bend time? You see, space and time are two sides of the same coin. A planet doesn't attract an asteroid like a magnet would. Instead, it curves the space towards itself, so the asteroid is falling into the curved space. The curvature of the space is called gravity. And it all would be fine if the light wasn't so stubborn. Light acts as if it owns the place. I'll tell you what light does. Let's say it takes 5 seconds for light to go from point A to point B. 5 seconds. If we put a planet here, it will curve the space and the distance between these 2 points will increase. But the light doesn't care. It still wants to cross this with the same speed in the same amount of seconds. It doesn't care that there is more distance now. So in order to please light, mass must literally make seconds last longer, so that light can still cross it in 5 seconds. This is why mass bends both space and time. And the more mass, the more space-time is bent. And mass we have. Time near a neutron star is so horribly bent that if you stand there and look at the Earth, you would see 1 billion years pass every second. Like watching a sped up video. You would watch sun expand and swallow the Earth, like somebody pressed a fast forward button. People far away would watch you in slow motion. If you just lift your hand and wave, they will see your hand moving upwards slowly for 1 billion years. If you spend only a few seconds close to a neutron star, when you return, on Earth billions of years have passed and your loved ones are long dead. Neutron stars fold time like a piece of paper, and still, they are the second most powerful thing in the universe. Cores of the absolute biggest stars are pulled by so much gravity that it gets shoved into a single infinitely small point called singularity. Singularity has zero size and infinite density. This black sphere is the event horizon. Once crossed, nothing, not even light can escape. If you fell into a black hole, nothing would happen. Inside the event horizon is just like outside. The only difference is that now space becomes time. Singularity is no longer a place. It is an event in your future. It is your future. Enjoy a few moments you have left, because soon gravity will rip your legs from your spine. You will turn into a hot stream of plasma 1 atom wide and fall into singularity. At singularity, space is curved infinitely and time stops. Fun fact: if you hold your breath before you fall into the black hole, nothing would change. Thank you for watching, guys. This video took a really long time to make, so I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next one.